Today we're going to get started with something that, well, at times this can be, as a societal issue, this can be controversial, the idea of victimhood. Now, certainly, we have cases where people assume the role of victim because they have indeed been victimized. Let's look at cases like Larry Nassar at Michigan State University, Dr. Anderson at Penn State, and everything that happened at at University of Michigan, and then everything that happened prior at Penn State University. So you get where I'm going with that. But what about the idea of you becoming kind of a permanent fixture in victimhood? It's not a good thing. Let's talk about how that might manifest itself and what you can do about it with our good friend Dr. John Braccio today, Regional Psychological Services in East Lansing, and of course all the podcasts on so many subjects at drjohnb.com. Good morning, sir. Welcome back.
Well, good morning, Dave, and nice to talk to you again after talking to Rich last week.
Likewise.
The trip to Seattle went okay.
It was okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
The point here is, as you mentioned, is not to deny there are victims in the form of minor insults and to even murder. What we're specifically talking about here are persons who have taken on the role of victim to the point they feel they have lost control of their lives and really have a negative outlook on life with everything seen through the prism of I'm the victim mentality. This outlook on life really can only lead to unhappiness and often can be accompanied with anger, anxiety, and depression. Now, if you feel you're a victim of life or you too often believe you take on the role of victim, you really need to honestly really evaluate yourself. I mean, Dave, it's really true. It can be quite a nightmare for persons and everyone around them. Now, if I can, I'll mention some of the typical views of persons who see themselves as victims. One, they blame others for their station in life. They blame problems from the past and or present for being unhappy. They don't see inadequacies or lack of direction in self or problems in life. They perceive daily life responsibilities and roadblocks as problems and not opportunities for resolution. They believe life is against them. They feel powerless in life. They feel the destiny does not allow them luck and things always work out poorly, for them. And believe that no one understands them. They're alone in the world with no understanding and caring. Now, if you feel this way, you can imagine how you're going to have a really bad life. So you really do have to develop a new outlook. You have to really recognize you do have control, certainly over many aspects of your life, and you really need to be seeking opportunities to prove this. So you're certainly going to be happier if you do that, Dave, because if you are in the victim role, woe is me, all is bad. Now, I could mention things to do if that would be okay. I mean, these are the things that you need to do if you're going to be a non-victim, okay?
Sure.
You have to recognize you're giving ongoing power to persons who may have hurt you or taken advantage of you or still exert control over you. You don't want to let others control you. Again, particularly when it's in the past. You have to take control of your life and the decisions you make. You have to seek out positive people who clearly do not see themselves as victims, and you have to start modeling and implementing their behaviors and outlooks. You have to admit when you've made an inappropriate decision, and don't use the word but. Okay, like if you make a mistake, you don't have to say, yeah, I did bad, but it wasn't my fault. You have to get rid of the word but. And the word but, it's a disclaimer. If you use but, you're taking away their own responsibility.
You've got to have some accountability. You got to have accountability there. Okay, good.
That's right. And then you have to use the statements I will and I can when making a decision to do something. You need to recognize failure can be a way to learn how not to do something as opposed to seeing yourself as a victim. And you need to replace negative self-defeating thoughts about being a victim with positive statements about being responsible for yourself and the decisions you make. And if felt necessary, seek out a therapist who can help you start replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Now, this may sound quite simple if you think about it, but if a person is negative, plays victim, always looks through the prism of negativity, they're going to have an unhappy life, and they're going to never move forward because they won't. They will just see, no point in even trying. The world is against me. Woe is me. And so that's Too many people have that view, and until you take the posture, I'm taking control, I can do this, I will do this, I'm going to do as much as I can in the world where I am, the abilities I have, the opportunities, but I'm going to find them, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm not going to blame others for everything that happens to me.
You know, I worked, Doc, with somebody for a fair number of years who checked so many of the boxes you just listed off that it's almost like they were, writing the script for this segment. And the thing about that is, it's almost like I got to the point where I thought it's like they're playing a role. People have said that before, that life, we're all actors on the stage, but they're playing this constant victimhood role on a daily basis that I don't think they can break away off the script. And it was all the time. And now you say they can never be happy. Sometimes I thought this person only would find any happiness in having the same litany of how everything was so bad, Doc. And we would talk about things, but this person would say, and I remember this specifically, that everyone is against me. I feel like the world's against me every day. And I think finally I said, that's not true. It can't be true because most of the world doesn't give a you-know-what about you and about me. And, the sooner you get that through your head, I just, now that would not have been a therapeutic thing for me to really lay out. But, I mean, the way you explain this, there are people who fit this, I think quite unfortunately, to a T, and it's become part of their day-to-day modus operandi.
Right. Well, you're right. They don't try, or they don't want to try, and
No.
You're right. They fall into victimhood, but victimhood doesn't make you happy. You need to live in Realville. You really need to, if you're going to be satisfied moving forward. You don't want to be just woe is me. And if someone asks you, how are you? I remember my Uncle Glenn, a long time, used the example that people, you say, what a beautiful day today. And they'd say, oh, it might be raining here later today. I mean, you think, wow, why did you make an observation on a sunny morning? So yes, there are people that, they have taken on the role of victim. And it may be satisfying to some degree, but David, to argue the point, the living a life where woe is me, everything's against me, nothing gets me ahead. If that is how you get your happiness, that certainly is not a happy way to live. And
no, you're right. No question.
But I do agree with you. I think people, when they get into the role of victimhood, they just stay in that role. A lot of times, there are people blaming people in the past. Like, if my parents had let me go to this place, or if that person hadn't taken advantage of me and hurt me. And often they're legitimate. I mean, a lot of people have been taken advantage of. You mentioned the Nassar and the Anderson situation. I'm not going to minimize what people have had happen to them, but we're talking often at times people that didn't have that kind of abuse. But even if you were really abused, you don't want to minimize what's happened, but you need to not allow people from the past to control your present. And in your present, you can't be always looking for negativity. It's a question of that to be happy, to be satisfied in life, you need to be moving forward. You need to be trying to find the good. There's enough negativity anywhere on this planet. So
no kidding.
You want to focus on
it. Will seek you out. Right. It'll seek you out daily.
But if you're looking for it, if you're saying, golly, things just are too good today, there have to be negative things, I guess I'm going to have to go find them. There are people like that, like you say. They match everything.
But Doc, the most insidious thing about this is it absolutely absolves this person from responsibility or accountability, and that's got to manifest itself in many other negative areas. It just says, what can I do about it? I'm the victim here. I never have control over the situation, and that's not true. That's just not true.
No. Woe is me. I mean,
exactly.
And it also hurts relationships with others. And if people have to see you a lot, I mean, if it's in a family or a working thing, it can be a real bummer. Like sometimes you want to say, oh, no, here comes the cloud, okay? The cloud of rain, Yeah, but I'll tell you, you don't know what happened to me. had the worst divorce in the history of the universe, or people just never seem to see the good in me. They all see negativity. And so there you are saying, yeah, why? I mean, so it's just trying to find a more positive view within the reality that you live in. I mean, if your goal is to become, the king or queen of England, that's impossible. Okay, so not that I want to do that. I might like some of the property, but not any of those roles. So you take into what is realistic. What can I do? Happiness is something from within, and if you can find your place in life and try to advance as much as you can, look at the opportunities that are there. You don't want to compare yourself with others. What can I do? Where can I advance? How can I be satisfied? How can I find good even in difficulties? That's how you become a more satisfied, a more happy, a more satisfying person, and somebody not only that you want to live with yourself, since you talk to yourself most of the time, but someone that others are going to want to see and are going to want to be with, because we really do want human interaction. We do want people to respect us, care for us, and find good in us. We don't want to be the person that people are just feeling, are things going as bad today as they have been the last 4 years? Or, those are really, they want to hear, yeah, but even a little worse these days. So try to find the good. And remember, we're not minimizing people that really have major issues, have had major issues. It's not meant to be an insensitive segment, but we're talking about that group of people that has every opportunity to take advantage of their life, have a better life, a good life, impact more positively on other people, and just have a road through life that you can feel happy. And I think you try to do that. I know Erin on your show, I really enjoy chatting with her just briefly.
It's her birthday, by the way. It's her birthday.
Really?
Happy birthday. See, now everybody knows. The first one to greet her today was her dog, but, now all the listeners and you, I mean, we're all piling it on, but it's a happy. What a great thing. You have Valentine's Day and then your birthday's the next day. Just combo it up. That's not bad.
I think that's terrific. That is good. That's what we like.
All right. Well, when declaring yourself to no longer, it's like a declaration of independence, and it is, in a sense.
Yes.
When you say, I'm no longer a victim, I may have bad things happen, but it is not something systemic. This is going to help your mental health. The podcast will be at drjohnb.com. Regional Psychological Services, the major domo is Dr. John Braccio on the other end of our line right now, and always welcome here on the Morning Wake Up. Take care and stay safe, sir.
Will for sure, my friend. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. We'll be back in a moment on the Morning Wake Up next, 1320 WILS.